What's up, YouTube? This is your boy SimRenewal, and I'm finna hit you with truth bullets today. My focus, this is going to be something that I do periodically, and categorize this as episodes. This is gonna be zero, episode zero, ground zero. Um, as this will be the first in the channel, and it will show as my thought process changes during this entire uh, social media journey. So, well, I'm going to just jump into it and I'm going to title this. The title of this episode is called Out of Order. And that means we as a society, we as people are completely out of order. I'm not talking about you who feel like it's a case by case basis. I'm talking about as a unity, we don't stand by each other, men or women, in most cases. Um, so let me start it with this. From the beginning of time, you had God who made all. Then you had He made men in His image, and then He made woman from man. I believe God did that due to the fact that He created all, that He made men in His image, and men were intended to create because it's in His image. Then turn around, God knew that potential of emotion of loneliness, so He made women from man to be a helpmate, to be there for the man as he dealt with the stresses of creation. But there was a union there. So, with that being said, that beginning of time and that form of order was good because of the union, God, man, and woman's union. Okay, then we move on just a little bit. We got we start at the beginning of society. At the beginning of society, you had God, man, society, and women. Why went in that order is due to the fact that God still came first. Men who followed God, uh, it was man's rule, so they formed society, and then women still were the helpmates to the men. Just within the society, the man formed. Well, this was still good, not as good as the original one, due to the fact that by the time society came around, it gave the opportunity for corruption due to the fact of the loss of the direct connection to God. I'm just going ahead saying because I'm speaking to people who was religious and non-religious. So it's going to sound religious from the very beginning. Bear with me. Society was formed after the fact of the direct disconnection from God. So there's opportunity for corruption. Let's move forward just a little bit. And now you have society formed. But now, because you have society formed, naturally people want to become leaders. Leaders are people of power. People of power starts to shape things because people with too much power normally becomes corrupt. So the next step is, excuse me, God, men of power, society, men, women. I kind of consider it the starting of corruption. I say that because, and you see, I sector it out, men of power and men, because I want women to understand that men have to live at that point in time. Men had to live within the society that was formed, and the men who were the leaders, the men who had the power, shaped society. So the lesser man, when it came down to influencing and power, he had to just live within society with his woman. After that, I go to saying the era of corruption, and we've been in the era of corruption ever since. I know Jesus came back, died for our sins, and allowed for us to repent, but we've been living in the era of corruption due to the fact now it has parsed, and you have multiple different men, but I want to talk about two types. You have the men of power that influences society, the men who are the betas to the man of power who look up and strive to be that man of power. Then you have women and God at the end. I put it in that order due to the fact men of power in society, in history, in many cases, utilize their power to influence society with no problems, to influence men and women, and at last resort will utilize God and scripture and biblical context to dictate how something goes. They didn't have God as the head, they had God as the tail. Then you had the men within society. I want to stay on men for a time period because I want women to understand that there are sectors, there's different types of men out there. So saying there's no good men is fallacy. So you have God, you have men, and I call them powerful men. Society, which is a utilization tool by the powerful man to provide for the woman. So let's again remind you that in every order of this, mostly the woman's at the end because the woman didn't have rights to do much outside of being there, and her life was a survival. She had to go through survival, so her skills and development. She would get with the powerful man, so she didn't have a luxurious life. She will be with a man of power to have a luxurious life. It's survival for women. So if they had a good or bad life, it really wasn't due to them. It was due to who they were connected to and survival. So I say women's nature could be corrupt throughout lifetimes. Through lifetimes, yet you still have to take into consideration that most women had to survive and thought about their legacy, their children, so they want to provide the best opportunities for them. So I don't fault women for how they came up and they look for the best providers, the best things of that nature. It's a survival mechanism, understandable. Now, in this era of corruption, it was mainly because of the abuse of power for riches, fame, sexual desire, and conquest. That was mainly the reasons why people became men of power for riches, fame, sexual desire. They can do. That's where most of the uh, having sex with as many women as you wanted to, it came in. It just didn't matter because they didn't have to be with one woman. They're extremely influential to society. They have all these things. They can do what they want. Next is y'all have to realize that the era of corruption formed society. Most of our history came from that. Most of our history came from just terrible acts and terrible people and people trying to survive. That's just pretty much how history has formed itself. Next thing I really want to speak on is the factor of the view of men have been and are mostly viewed from the perspective of the men of power. I want to elaborate on this because if the main people you see, the main people who you talk about, the main people you hear mostly about are the people who influence society, influence your friends, influence your family, influence these people who's actively out there doing those things, they're normally the men of power. They're the ones that got it all and flaunt it all. They show it off. Women have normally seen and viewed men from the wealthy ones that abuse their power and rarely talk about it from the perspective of the average man who's trying to become powerful and utilize society for the provisioning of his family. He's trying to do it in God's order, yet it doesn't look any different from an average woman's perspective due to the fact that both the man of power and the powerful man has to utilize society, yet one focuses on influencing society to follow their lead, where the other one is the powerful man is focused on doing what he has to do in society, yet wanting to strongly keep a separation from himself in society. He does not align with the views of society, but he utilizes it. They're very different people, yet most women looked at the men of power's actions and looked at other men striving and kind of lumped them together. So after that, I want to kind of jump into like the 1950s with women liberation and the ability to have fair opportunities as men. Honestly, I don't say anything is wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having opportunities the same as men. There shouldn't be anything wrong with that. I believe the only downside of that is, again, it allows for the opportunity for corruption even within that sector, due to the fact now you're going to lose, or it's the possibility of losing, the direct connection between men and women. Let me say that again. It's nothing wrong with the women's liberation ability to have fair opportunities just as men, yet it leaves the opportunity for corruption due to the fact you can lose the sight on the direct connection between men and women. Women depended on men. Men had to do what they had to do for women. If you disconnect the two and allow for the woman to do the things that men do, then it allows for the value of a man to decrease. A woman believes her value increases because she's now doing what a man does, but it does not equate in the aspects of relationships. It does not equate. It's not the same thing. There was there was a role and expectation on a man for a specific reason. There was a role and expectation on a woman for a specific reason. Because if we go back to the very beginning, when the union was good, men were made to be the creators, whereas women was the ones that were supposed to maintain and provide peace and caring, nurturing. Literally, now that distorts that altogether. It gives the opportunity for distortion of that altogether. And I want to say, this is my personal belief, there was a minority of women who were abused by still men of power, which they fought for opportunities just because of the fact that, you know what, I don't want a man, I don't want to be abused by a man. I'm tired of seeing this, and that. The modern woman today speech, feminist speech, and pretty much it goes through and say these minorities spoke loudly and the majority just accepted the change because it's nothing wrong to having an opportunity. So the minorities spoke loudly, the majority just willingly accepted and moved on with how life was. Due to that, I kind of want to stay on this piece just a little bit because I don't think women understand to the degree the pros and cons. Feminism, that feminist mindset, gives power to the men of power. Not the powerful man, the one that's trying to do right in society. It gives the ones that you say is wrong, and the ones you don't like literally gives more power to them. And I want to go ahead and say that simply because of the fact when you have in most strong-minded, we don't need men. I'm gonna do what I want. I'm gonna wear what I want. I'm gonna carry myself the way I want. No man can tell me anything. Type mentality of a woman. You are actually coming off very masculine. You come off very masculine. You're very prideful. You're everything a man doesn't want to marry. Yet you are the things men will be like, oh, she cool to connect with. I can connect with her. So these women are walking around with this very strong mindset of I can do it all by myself. I'm gonna do it all by myself. I don't need no man. I this, and the other. They're spouting all this noise of why men so bad, this, and the other. Yet you're saying all this on one hand, yet you still want a man and you want commitment from a man. Yet you push all the men or most of the men that are really good men to the side, and your eyes go for the ones that, because again, like I said, women's survival tactics is go for the person who provides the most security. Well, women are fighting for the same outcome at this point because they got the same opportunities, fair opportunities. Over time, they just have to let time pass on, and things will just simply get better. They've been fighting for the same outcome, so they can make the same amount of money, the same amount of they get the same amount of clout, all of that. Well, and I'm staying on this topic for because this is the biggest aspect of out of order. The corruption started the out of order. This is now just destroyed the union between men and women. Okay, you want so badly to have the man's goal. You fight to be on the same level as a man. Yet you desire still a man. So what you're doing is you're living your life, you're going up this ladder, improving your life for yourself, not caring about family, not caring about children until later in life. Just kind of keep moving up. You 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 gain all these things. You gain all these things. But as you gain these things, you have to sacrifice something else in the end. So you're sacrificing most of your feminine, your womanly traits to obtain these riches and things of that nature, so you don't have to depend on a man. Yet when you start to desire a man, you don't desire the man that has less than you. You desire the man that has the same as you, or a man that has more than you. And that is a problem in itself because the ones that are above you, let's say a woman goes and shoots for $150,000 a year. That's her goal. She strives for it. She's 32. She's making $150,000 a year. That means she's going to normally look at somebody that's like 150 or higher in the income bracket. Well, if that man is making 150 to uh, anything higher than that, this person might be a powerful man or a man of power. It just determines how they live their life and what they show. In the society that we live in currently, people who make $150,000 or more normally want to show it off, show their lifestyle so they can attract more women. So they start to slowly move into the men of power perspective anyway, because they're flaunting their stuff off in most cases just to get women and get opportunities because they just want to figure out what they like. So you worked hard and you made it to a point that you're looking at a set man, and this set man has the abundance mindset that he doesn't really care about being with a specific woman. And what does he do? Continue to abuse his power, You all keep looking at that specific man and those type of men, and now you're upset with all men, disregarding the fact that there are men who cared. Happened. Okay. Disregarding men who have cared and are good men, they just don't have the same um, aptitude for riches and for fame and for clout like that. They're really good men. They just don't desire it as much. They good with being at the 60, 70, 80,000 dollar range and having a decent good life, especially if he has a woman that decided she was gonna put in some type of effort. He's happy with it. So I just want women to realize that, not if you say there's no good men, realize that it's part of what you're looking towards and what you're attracting and what you're selecting. Because you can have five really good men next to you, but you're looking from the security perspective in most cases. So you're looking up from wherever you are and you're trying to obtain something higher than you to lead you. And if you put yourself at a extremely high bracket, all you gonna see at that top is gonna be mostly men of power. You're gonna probably find one to two powerful men the within 10. You might find two, but you might not make it to the two as you went through the 10 and you made it through five and you said all these men ain't nothing. So I'm just saying I stayed on this area because from the point of women's liberation and rights and to work and things of that nature, the mindset has shifted greatly. Well, I also want to move into just the 1990s to 2000s. 1990s to 2000s, we have access to greater channels of information. Internet started booming, social media started booming, and that is a wonderful downfall due to the fact that now men and women get to focus on unrealistic expectations, which which are men looking at the men more they can see and have access to more just men of power. They want to be like them, but they end up being beta versions of them. They get all the riches, they get some fame, uh, and they buy the women, which we current today call them simps. They you can be a rich simps. You're a man who has a bunch of money, and the only thing that's sexy really about you is your pocket. And then you have women who says the only way to be with said man, I need to look and act a certain way. So I'm looking at all these other women who are getting with these men. So that's what I desire to be, which is not good. We in 2020, 2021, and this is when I want everybody just to realize it's straight chaos. It's straight chaos. There's statements saying out there being said, been saying for years. Well, women saying we don't need no man. I literally had a conversation. It was funny to hear a woman say, "I don't need no man. I'm gonna have my job. I'm gonna get raise my kids." And I stopped her and was like, "How can you raise your kids with no man?" Well, I don't need no man because I can focus on spending time with my kids. I was like, well, I'm literally saying, if you say I don't care about no men, for all the women who say that and they don't have a man and they don't have kids, then just picture the world without man altogether. Because now the order for a lot of modernized women, modern day women, are literally God, women, society. They want to completely change how society is ran. And society has shifted its gear to focus on and accept more of what the women think because they were being oppressed for so long. So women saying that, hey, we don't need no man. I just said eliminate men altogether. We were like, yeah, we're gonna still have children. I said how? When you eliminate men, you're eliminating the component that you need for impregnation. Also means their semen. So you're saying when you say I don't need a man, that's literally saying that you're okay with genocide. I just want to say it just like that. And I said I'm hitting on points of for religious women in the very beginning, and women, societal women who don't believe in have a religious belief. If you are a woman who believes and don't believe, if you say you believe in God and in your faith, you should also remember that there was a natural order to how everything was structured. You can't say I'm a strong faith-based person yet exclude the order, the natural order of how it was intended to be. It's never going to work out because that's part of the union, the fundamental beginning of the connection between man and woman. So you have to abide by that. If not, then everything else doesn't matter. So you got statements like I don't need no man, I can do everything by myself, which again, these statements are fallacies. It honestly, I believe it came from hurt women who ended up not having a man due to their own poor choices in life and teaching and indoctrinating to younger women to come up saying that, hey, I don't need a man, I want a man. But you don't hear men teaching boys, I don't need a woman, I want a woman. No, we know we need women. Why do you think men just constantly make mistakes when it come down to needing a woman, got a woman, make mistake with that woman with another woman? They need women. Men know they need women. Women say, hey, I don't want to be cheated on, so I don't want to be, I don't, and that's the biggest thing that they say. I do not want to be cheated on, so I don't need a man if I'm going to be cheated on. If you're not going to give me the commitment, I don't even need you to begin with. And what I say to that is, in this day and age, we should just do it like this. This is my personal opinion on how to solve that problem as much as possible. Women say that you want honesty, so you need to accept the honesty of a man. So if you can truly accept the honesty of a man, when y'all first start talking, you should make it known. If y'all put a title on anything, if you say girlfriend, boyfriend, we going out dating. If you put a title in any way, form, or fashion, you need to have the discussion of, are we seeing just one another or are we seeing multiple people? And the moment you start to lead towards actually putting a title on it, you need to have a conversation again. When you say, hey, we girlfriend or boyfriend, you need to establish, man need to be honest up front and say, I like you enough to be my girlfriend, but I believe in having multiple women. Are you okay with that? She only has the right to say yes or no. If she says no, men realize she's not for you. Because if that's really your belief, then it's not going to work out. Well, you're going to run into some woman that sees the value that you bring enough if you have value. First and foremost, if you don't have the value to bring, don't bring that as an opportunity. Don't bring that up. Don't bring that up, but don't be with the woman either. If you know she wants commitment and you know you want multiple women, yet you haven't evolved and worked on yourself enough to even have that conversation and say, hey, you know what? I believe in having multiple women, which means, yo, I want you as my girlfriend, and I really care about you. You my main, and I'm gonna still have females on the side, but they don't really matter as much. Like they just for the time periods you're tired, you don't want to give me some or do anything like that. You too tired, you too busy doing something else, and I just need to go and do something. I want somebody on my side. I got another female for that. If he can have that conversation with you directly and you can accept it, then it's good. It's not cheating. Cheating is giving the woman the false pretenses that y'all are exclusive to each other, and then turn around breaking that. So if you really, women most times want exclusivity. And women, be honest. Don't tell a man that you are okay with something and not be okay, and then turn around and say, "Well, he wasn't. He didn't know." Y'all had this conversation. It's honest. It's an honest conversation. Y'all need to agree to disagree, to walk away. He can be the most wonderful man. She can be the most wonderful woman. If you literally have one belief, have that belief, do what you gonna do. Tell the truth up front, and y'all figure this stuff out from there. In 2021, we have started accepting all the taboos of the world. From history past, there are homosexual people. Nothing against homosexual people. I'm not discriminating or saying anything negative towards or about them. But I do want to say this, that they have always existed. It's just they were taboo, so they weren't accepted by society. Now they're accepted. And we keep still battling between the sexes, and we're not actually coming to a understanding and conversation, which honestly men need to improve and level up and be better for women. But they have to be better in themselves first. Be better in yourself to be able to provide for a woman, to be there for a woman, to have the security for that woman, yet also keep that boundary there to tell her that she needs to abide by certain rules in her lane while being a woman. If you can't have that conversation with that woman, then you haven't made it to a point yet. Because you need to have that up front. You need to have that conversation up front. Yo, these are the things I will and will not accept from you. This is what I want from you as my woman. If you can't have that conversation, if you are too afraid to have that conversation, if that conversation is uncomfortable, if she gets fight pushback, then she's not for you. If you put in all that work and you really want just a couple things, I want you to cook. I want you to cook. I want you to clean. I want you to. It's not slavery. I'm literally saying I will provide and take care of everything for you if you do these things for me, because this will allow for us to grow. Women who say, I can get my own, I don't need no man to take care of me. Well, in those cases, realize that for you, you're going to give your prime years where you can select the best. You have more options than men. You have your prime years. You're focusing on getting the bag. The moment you get a man who's probably already secured the bag for himself, have the money, have the home, have the car, you're gonna move in. You're not finna tell him, well, I got my money, I don't want to move in with you. No, you're going to move in with him, and then he's not gonna let you just be a leech off of him. He's gonna be like, hey, you still gotta do stuff around here, and you gonna be upset, and you be like, but I got my own, and he's not gonna hear it. And what if you respect the man, if you care for the man, and you really want to be with this man, you gonna put what you thought was so important on the back burner. And if you try to keep it going, the moment you try to be with this man and y'all try to make it a serious thing, and you now bear a child, your primary focus gonna go to that kid. Your motherly instincts gonna kick in, and you're gonna really want to be there for that child and be there for that family dynamics you just created. So with that being said, women, please stop focusing so strongly on the things that don't make you the best for a relationship. I'm not saying don't focus on a life for yourself. It's good. Go work. You're gonna have to some for a while anyway, because you're not gonna guarantee you have a man off the rip. You have opportunities to men, but it's not the man that you will want to marry. Two, women, please stop putting men who are literally the things you want in a man for marriage. You put them in as a friend. The ones that you actually desire and go after, physically, sexually, are the ones that has the edge to them that turns you on, but most likely are the ones that are not willing to commit and or are the ones that are going to abuse their power while with you, so hurting you, putting you down, and then you eventually leave him anyway. But now you got this baggage, and then you look for your good man. So stop doing that. Please stop. Please stop. You have a good man. Try the good man. Try the good man. You can say he's boring all day. You want excitement in the wrong areas. Stop it. Also, I understand that y'all want equal rights and and y'all really doing equal opportunity at this point. And I'm speaking to the women because I just talked about men the whole first half. So women, I just want y'all to realize how you all have battled for it comes with pros and cons. You've gotten the ability to now dictate how society views certain things from a female perspective, and there's a lot of protection laws and things in our society and our systems today that give protection and or give advantages to women for poor decisions, for poor choices in life, for control over really a new life and all of that. And it's based off what you feel. What you feel is right. So society views a woman based off how they feel and consider it based off that. It's society view men based off what they do. What have they done? How she feels. So I want y'all to realize that it's very different in how the society views men versus women today. And with that, it's contributed to men now realizing they don't want to compete in the man's world, in the man's game. They don't want to compete. So they changing. They going so far as saying I'm opting out of this race and I'm gonna change my gender and I'm gonna be part of the other race, the women race. I'm finna be part of this game. And there are women that say, hey, I can't get with these other women, so I'm finna be with these. I don't like the cattiness between women, all that. I'm finna be part of the men's game. Women realize because you're protected due to the fact of you being a woman and what you feel. Men who opt out the game of the life of being a man and change their natural state to be a woman, biologically they're still a man in the woman's game and how the world views women and acceptance of the views of women. He now associates and is affiliated with women. And it's discrimination in any and all forms if you ostracize him who refers to himself as a her. Again, I will say that again. It's it's ostracizing and pretty much segregating, moving, and saying that he changed his gender to a she to be in the same game with the rest of you all women, the natural women, and now you women want to kick him out, and that's he doesn't feel that's right. The world is gonna handle that situation a lot more sensitively due to the fact we protect men, we deal with men based off how they are. We handle women based off how they feel. We have accepted the fact that men can opt out and women can opt out of their natural roles. Back to the 1950s, let's jump back when 1950s, women got the opportunity to opt out their natural roles. At this point, or opt out their natural responsibilities in their role. Now, people are opting out their role altogether. They opting out just being a man or a woman and swapping genders. A woman that comes over to a man's world, honestly, men are not going to care as much because now you're part of the man's game, and we can treat you the same way the world treat men. We don't care. We just don't care. We don't care about feelings that much. We don't care about acceptance. We don't care about agreement. We don't care about making sure that everybody is being heard. No, you have to deal with how life gives you your cards, and you try to do the best that you can with it and move up. And as you move up, try, if you're a powerful man, try not to become corrupted by moving up. And if you're a man of power, just use the cards, do what you gotta do, move up. It don't matter. Women who change up to men gon' is just gonna understand that life ain't easier as a man. It's not. And men that move over to being a woman, if they feel like life is easier and they benefit from it, they just win. They win. But that's due to the rights and the obligations and the access that you all have, that y'all have had. You just haven't realized you had it until a man moved over to your sector, to your game, and start playing that same game, and they're winning. They're winning in your game. You cannot be upset because that's the game you set up for yourself. So, again, this is episode 0. This is we're gonna see how my mind changes from this point forward. But I just want to say, and hopefully we change the conversation from this war between the genders, and eventually get back to trying to have an actual conversation. I've talked to family members who are like women on the fence about like what are we supposed to do. My personal belief is there are more good situations out of traditional men and traditional women. The only thing that women really complained about was the cheating. If a man can be traditional and a woman can be traditional, and they come together, even if the man cheats in that situation, it needs to be a serious conversation because of the fact he needs to understand the value of that said woman that he decided to be exclusive with. Hold up. Pretty much, when it comes down to it, it needs to be a serious conversation had, and the man has to be reminded if he steps out on this woman, he if before he stepped out and he understood her value, and if he still stuck some for whatever reason, and I say for whatever reason because y'all can be in a she can be extremely valuable and he can be extremely valuable, but if y'all had tough enough times, if he steps out, if that's his decision, because he's pre-programmed to do so. So if he does that as his out and it's wrong, he needs to understand that he shouldn't be aiming to do that again. He shouldn't be aiming to do that again. A woman needs to get that understanding that the man is not aiming to do that again, but women also have to understand that, yo, as long as you're doing what you are doing and you're extremely valuable to the point that he does not want to replace you, remove you, he understands how much you are worth to him. And when I say that, I mean from your feminine things that you give that no other woman can give, and what he can't give himself. I want women to understand that a man, you can't compare your money to a man's money in many aspects, because what he can give himself is, if he can give himself the same things that you can give him, he doesn't need you for that. It's nice, it's a plus, might be sexy that you can give me something, but I don't need you for it. So if you think you're gonna live your life and not have the feminine aspects that I need, have the masculine aspects that you want, and then be in a relationship with me, then I gotta I gotta do all the stuff in the house at work. I'm stressed out. You stressed out because of work. Both of us not doing nothing for the home. Both of us mad and upset with each other because we're both irritated with our lives. And you think that's gonna fly for a long time? No, I'm gonna let it go. The only people, and I want people to see, I say people, but I really want to refer this to women. Unrealistic people are celebrities. So if you are looking at a celebrity's lifestyle as to your goal in life in a relationship perspective, that is unrealistic and falsified. Most celebrities can cheat on each other and not be faithful and do as many things wrong as possible to one another and stay together. You want to know why? It's because they have built a empire together, and it's better to stay together and continue to build the empire and change rules and make agreements within making a deal within their relationship compared to walking away. So don't think because Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce and Beyonce didn't leave type thing. Um and Jay-Z stopped that she her value is so great that no, it's that's not what we are. They are not who we are. So that has everything to do with the empire they built together, and it's better for them to stay together and make their money together. Whereas for average individuals, come on, and people, average is not bad. Average is not bad. You can meet an average $150,000 earner. You will never know dude makes $150,000. Dude could be 200,000, $300,000 earner and come off as average. You can meet these people. They are real people. So please don't opt out an individual for what he's not flashing. Well, this this is the end to episode 0. We out of order. All right. Peace.